Do you ever look at the homeless and wonder if they're even human? I didn't. Not until I met the man with the $300 sneakers and a hunger for skinning. Now I don't look at anything anymore. I just hide. It was back when I first moved to California. Name's Daniel, your typical tech stack-obsessed software engineer, fresh out of the gate and chasing the Silicon Valley dream. New job, new city, new life, the whole 9 yards. But California is a weird place, man. Everything's oversized, the streets are too wide, the cars are too expensive, and the people, they're moving a mile a minute. At night, the lights never truly go out. The city just breathes this heavy artificial glow, constantly nudging you to consume something. I was just another gear in that massive, restless machine. The first few weeks were pure moving day chaos. My apartment was a graveyard of cardboard boxes, so I spent most of my time hopping between Walmart, Target, and Costco. I know I'm a tech guy, but I'm old school when it comes to shopping. I can't do the whole online order thing. I need to see the product, feel the weight of it in my hand. Online shopping just feels disconnected. It was a weekend when I decided to hit Walmart for some odds and ends. You know how Walmart is. You walk in for a light bulb and end up wandering through a simulation. I was passing the camping aisle, and for a split second I looked at the massive tents. After listening to those wilderness stories on the Knox Horror Channel, camping was the absolute last thing on my bucket list, so I kept moving. I ended up in the kitchenware section. I'm not much of a chef. My diet mostly consists of DoorDash, but I wanted some decent gear. That's when I saw them. Japanese Nakiri knives. They weren't just tools, they were pieces of art. The squared-off blades, the Damascus patterns on the steel. The Japanese really know their way around a sharpening stone. I was holding one, checking its balance, when I felt a sharp pressure on my right shoulder blade. Someone was poking me. Hard. I spun around. Standing there was the sketchiest dude I've ever seen. A straight-up tweaker. His beard was a matted mess of filth, and his skin was baked a dark, leathery brown from the sun and dirt. In the middle of the California heat, he was wearing an old beanie and a tattered olive-drab trench coat. He smelled like a toxic mix of stale malt liquor and cheap hot dogs. But his shoes, man, that was the glitch. His sneakers were pristine, neon yellow and green. A high-end model that goes for at least $300. They were so wildly out of place with the rest of his rags that it looked like he'd cut off someone else's feet and sewn them onto his own body. He was holding a black trash bag that rattled with the sound of empty aluminum cans. He wouldn't look me in the eye. His gaze was locked onto my chest. His lower lip was tucked under his upper teeth, and his breathing was this heavy, wet rasp. Suddenly, he pressed his dirty, cracked finger into my stomach. Twice, like he was checking for something inside. "You need something, man?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady as I pulled my cart between us. No reaction. He reached out again, and I backed off. "What's your deal?" This time, he pointed at the Nakiri knife in my hand. "What about the knives?" I asked, gripping the handle tighter. He pointed again. Then, in a voice that sounded like a dying hog's grunt, he whispered, "For the harvest. Will you buy that for me? Time is running out." "What do you need a knife for, pal?" I shot back. His lips peeled back into a grin, revealing rotted teeth. He started laughing, a high-pitched broken sound like metal grinding on metal. People started staring. Then, just like the blade itself, the laughter cut off. He went dead silent. His face turned into a blank, lifeless mask. He stepped closer, right into my personal space, and hissed, "I need to do some skinning. I have so much work to do." I froze. The weird thing is, I wasn't even scared yet. It was just too absurd. "You're gonna skin something?" "Yeah, and I'm gonna colonize Mars." "Get lost," I thought. "Beat it, man," I said, reaching out to shove him away. That's when my blood turned to ice. Shoving him was like trying to move a concrete pillar bolted to the earth. He didn't budge an inch. His pupils were blown wide, just two massive black holes staring through me. I didn't say another word. I just turned and bailed. I headed for the snack aisle, my hands shaking as the adrenaline started to dump. I was looking at chips when I saw a movement at the far end of the shelf. It was him, just standing there, watching me with that dead stare. I ignored him and moved to the frozen foods. I checked the reflection in the glass door. He was right there, maybe 10 feet behind me. I let out a scream that was way too high-pitched for a grown man. "Stay the hell away from me. I'm calling security," I yelled. By the time the staff showed up, he had vanished behind the racks. I didn't care about shopping anymore. I hit the first open register, paid for my stuff, and sprinted for the parking lot. The sun was down. California's sickly orange streetlights were flickering on. I always park my car in the back, the lonely spot far from the entrance, so no one dings my doors. The lot was quiet, just the distant hum of the freeway. About 30 feet from my car, I saw a shadow between two massive pickups. My feet felt like lead. It was him, but this time he had this sickening, wide smirk on his face, and in his hand, the steel of a Nakiri was gleaming. He didn't walk, he sprinted. That lumbering hobo was gone, replaced by a predator. I dropped my bags and ran for my life toward the store, screaming for help. He was shouting garbled curses and grunts behind me. I zigzagged between cars, my heart hammering against my ribs. When I finally reached a group of people and turned around, he was gone, evaporated into the night. Security took me inside. They called the cops. We watched the footage. Yeah, he was there. He'd stalked me through every aisle. The footage of him chasing me through the lot was clear as day, but after he hit the exit of the lot, nothing. I was a mess. "Why do you even let people like that in here? He stole a knife," I yelled at the manager. The manager looked at me with this weird, hollow pity. "Daniel, he didn't steal it. He paid for it." I stopped cold. "What?" "We checked the tapes. After you left the aisle, he went to the register, pulled a wad of crumpled bills out of his pocket, and paid for that $200 Japanese knife. Every last cent. Why would a homeless man spend his last dollar on a high-end kitchen knife?" The cops escorted me to my car. My groceries were scattered, ruined. I cursed under my breath as I unlocked my Tesla and sat down. And that's when my scream echoed through the entire lot. The knife was in the car. It was sitting on the passenger seat, standing upright just like it had been on the shelf. The box was placed neatly beside it. But here's the kicker. There was no sign of a break-in. The doors were locked. The windows were up. Even Sentry Mode hadn't recorded a single movement. The police couldn't explain it. "We'll look into it," they said. The universal line for "we're never finding this guy." I haven't slept right since. When I drive past Skid Row, I look at the people lying on the sidewalk. I check their shoes. Are they really just broken souls looking for a handout? Or do we just choose to believe that because the alternative is too terrifying? I locked that knife in the deepest corner of my safe. But sometimes, late at night, I hear a metallic scrape from the kitchen. A low rasp, like someone is reminding me that the harvest is finally here.